Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And guys, we have an awesome show for you guys today. We are going to go back to the well, talk about a little bit of playoff seeding, some interesting things happened this week. And it kind of changed our entire plans for like what this podcast is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because some teams won that either weren't supposed to win or just kind of changed the balance of the playoff picture. So instead of going in depth like we did a couple weeks ago, we did an AFC, NFC like deep dive. We're going to spend the entire episode just talking about the entire NFL season. We're just going to kind of roundtable conversation. We don't have a lot of notes for this episode. We actually really love doing that, where we just kind of chill, talking a bar, taking shots. And that's what I have to do is finish this last shot. Tell them why.
So our bet was the Browns versus the Titans game. I chose Cleveland. He chose the hometown Tennessee Titans, and it was at a 6-point line, and ended up the game was decided by 6 points. So we agreed to push 2-2. Pretty fair. I think I won because I got the winner, but points are points.
My favorite part is the fact that the Browns were crushing the Titans.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely crushing the Titans.
In the bag, up at one point, like 35-7 or something? It was ridiculous.
And then we got the
because
turnaround.
of Baker?
Baker looked good. I will say the beginning of that game kind of went, and I only saw the beginning of that game because we ended up playing football.
Yeah.
But the beginning of that game, the Titans just shot themselves in the foot a couple times in a row. And it was just, and the Browns went up. But yeah, that was an interesting game. Browns might play the Titans. If everything ended right here, the Titans would play the Browns in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That would be pretty crazy, right? Like, that would be interesting.
It's going to be weird how it shapes up because so the Colts are edging on the Titans, like they're right at the Titans, nipping at their heels. Mm-hmm. And the Browns, Titans, if Titans don't take the division, that's going to be a tiebreaker in the 5, 6, 7 seed with the Titans, Browns, of course, having that. So it's going to be weird to see. But that's what our first talking point is are the Browns for real? And I'm going to start by saying that I truly believe they are, and I think it is going to come down, and you're going to disagree with me, I know it. It's going to come down to the man right here in Baker Mayfield. I think he is taking some real strides going forward. I think he is responding well to the criticism, and honestly, with the way that they run their offense, he isn't asked to do what he did last week by any means. But when he does that, they can beat anyone.
Yeah, I'm actually a little insulted that you said I would disagree with you. I 100% agree with you.
I didn't think you were a Baker Mayfield stan.
No, look, I'm not. I mean, a Baker Mayfield stan. Look, I didn't agree with the pick when it happened. I didn't think he deserved to be the number one pick. I think that's really the only gripe I've had with him. I like him as a player just fine.
Okay.
He's an average quarterback in the NFL right now. And if he could,
see, that's where I have a problem.
Well, is that not fair to say?
I think he's making true steps forward to where now,
of course he
top
is.
15.
Okay, but that's fine. But top 15 can still be average. There's 32 teams. The 15th quarterback in the NFL is by definition average.
By definition, he's above average.
I mean, I'm just saying he's right in there, in my opinion. And if you disagree, that's fine. He's right in there with a Ryan Tannehill, a Kirk Cousins, these average quarterbacks that like we've seen Baker Mayfield shit the bed and lose games this year.
Listen,
and we've also seen him blow up and have an awesome game.
Yes.
So that's fair to say.
Like you said, with Kirk or with Tannehill, it's one of those, they can have a game and they will move up into a top 5 of the week kind of thing. And then typically they'll hang around 10 to 15-ish.
Yeah. So
if he is on a good streak as of late, though.
Look, he's a young kid. He can climb to being a top 5 quarterback, and stay there. Like, I'm not saying his potential's limitless. And I will say where I want to go with this conversation is actually Kevin Stefanski, because we sat here in the offseason, and I think how did you feel? I don't remember. I remember being a big fan of the Kevin Stefanski hire.
I was pissed off that he was talking to him before our season was over.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you feel, because you're a Vikings fan, of course.
And then the 49ers wrecked us.
Yeah, that's it.
Because he already wanted it to be done and go on to his next job.
Listen, I get that, but I loved the hire, and I feel like, at least maybe not here, but throughout football media, it was considered a bad pickup for one reason or the other. And to me, it just made so much sense, because what the Browns want to do and what they're doing pretty well right now is run the football. 2 tight ends set. We have a Jarvis Landry. Obviously, they had you had Odell there too, but he gets hurt. So right now you have a Jarvis Landry, you have a Higgins, you have a Donovan Peoples-Jones who had that 70-yard touchdown this week. Mm-hmm. These type of players that can be complementary roles. Obviously, complementary is not the right word. you can be your number one wide receiver, but not hold the entire weight of the offense, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah. In the same way that a Thielen doesn't hold the entire weight of that offense, Dalvin Cook does, you know? So I actually really love what they've done, and it works. Like, they're quietly, first of all, did they just hit 8 wins or 9 wins? 9 wins, yeah. So they're a 9-win football team. They have a winning record for the first time in years. I don't remember what the stat was, but I remember seeing it when they won this game. And they're still going to get a wild card spot. They're going to be stuck in that 5th spot.
There's a chance they could take the division. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, they're 2 games back. I don't think it happens, but it could happen.
To Washington, anything can happen.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It could happen. I don't think it will, but it absolutely could. But yeah, you're right. This team could be dangerous. Now, I will say they play the Titans again. If things were to hold and the Titans stayed at that 4th seed, the Browns stayed at the 5th seed, and they matched up in wild card weekend, I think it's a coin flip of who wins. I think either team can win that game.
It's another coin flip, but because both teams, whenever I look at them schematically, are built kind of the same way. You have a really tough defense, you have a good running game, and you have quarterbacks that when they have their day, have fun. It's going to be a hard time trying to win. But I think the Browns are a better version of the Titans and what the Titans are trying to do. And I'll tell you why. Titans lost Vic Beasley. Jadeveon Clowney is out for the year. You are decimated with your pass rush. The Browns have arguably, if TJ Watt wasn't doing what he was doing, Myles Garrett would take Defensive Player of the Year. Both of them, they're playing out of their minds. The Browns defense is where the Titans defense was supposed to be. And yeah, I mean, if they play again, it's hard to beat them twice in the Titans. You think the Titans would come back and get one there. So, but I think the Browns, if they can stay doing what they're doing, we were on the podcast 2 weeks ago, and the odds for the Dolphins to make it to the AFC Championship were worse. The Browns gave you more money. Yeah. The Browns were plus 2,800. The Dolphins were plus 2,300. Yeah. Browns had a better record. So when are they going to get their respect?
I don't know. And you're absolutely right, because it's like we came into the season saying, oh, the Browns are going to do what they do every year. And it's funny because 2 years ago was when all the hype hit for the Browns, and it was really just a year late. Yeah, it was a year late. And honestly, this offseason, the Browns are probably going to offload Odell somewhere, probably get a 4th or 5th round pick for him, because somebody's going to have to take that contract, and he's just not what he used to be as far as value goes.
Well, and at the point, they don't need him.
They don't need him. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, and there's no other way to say it. Odell belongs, and for Odell's sake, he belongs on an offense that will feature the passing game and feature the wide receiver. The Browns are never going to do that. At least this iteration of the Browns will not do that.
It's better for Baker to have it this way too, because I can't help but think it gets in his head. Oh yeah, I have this superstar, megastar Odell. Why is he not getting it's just. And
I will argue, and maybe this, you probably won't like this because it might go against the Baker love. Good. No, Odell's awesome. He's been hurt a little bit, but he's awesome. I'll say Baker, I think, is going to perform better in an offense that is catered to the run first, and then allows him to perform well. It's the same way Ryan Tannehill is. Ryan Tannehill is able to really perform well. Baker and Tannehill are similar in the fact that they are really accurate in that mid-range passing offense. Exactly. Yes. Now, the thing that Baker is probably better at than Tannehill is Tannehill stays in the pocket a little bit too long, and he can take some unnecessary sacks, and he's good for a couple fumbles every year because of a lack of pocket presence. I'll say Baker doesn't have that same issue. So, we'll see down the line. That's talking Baker. But yeah, I absolutely agree. Browns are going to they'd have to really fall apart to miss the playoffs. So they're pretty much locked in. You look at the rest of the AFC, Dolphins have a tough stretch. They just got done with their easy stretch. They've won.
And you went 1-1 during it.
The Broncos Bengals. Broncos Bengals, and then I was also saying Jets. So we're 1-3 of our really easy, or 2-3 out of our easy stretch, which is exactly what I was saying as a Dolphins fan. Hey, we just need to, if we lose one of these, that's fine. We got to win the rest though, right? Of course. So we're in line. We get to play the Bills again. So we do technically own our own destiny. Because the Bills are one game ahead of us, but we do get to play them again. So technically we have we have a lane to.
There's a way you can make this
division.
Yeah.
But it would help a lot if the Bills lost. And also, we have a tough road. We have to play the 49ers. We have to play the Browns. We have to play the Patriots. And we have to play the Bills, obviously, in week 17. So that's going to be a tough one. Dolphins looking like they're going to sneak into the playoffs, though. And the teams they're going to have to deal with. We said this a couple weeks ago when we talked about the AFC. We said whoever wins that Titans-Colts game is going to win the AFC South. Yes. And the Titans won that, and I still believe
convincingly.
And I still believe. Sorry, guys, my dog's barking in the background. We're just gonna plow ahead though. I still believe the Titans will win that division. They'll end up with a 4th seed in the playoffs and win the AFC South. Colts are 8-4, just along with the Titans though. So anything could happen, obviously. But we're probably expecting the Colts to end up with either the 6th or 7th seed and still probably sneak into the playoffs. And then that leaves the Raiders out of luck right now. Raiders beat the Jets on a last-second play. Really, right now, they should be 6-6. I'll say that. If it weren't for a stupid Greg Williams blitz where they sent 7 on 3rd and 10 with 11 seconds left in the game. Now, granted, the corner, I think Lamar Jackson's the corner. He's out of a Pac-12 school. I can't remember what school he's out of, but he's a rookie corner. He bit on the double move against Henry Ruggs on 3rd and 10, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, how do you bite on that? You have to know the situation, but whatever. That's beside the point. Either way, that's the only reason the Raiders aren't 6-6 and are really, really behind in this division right now. They're 1 game out of the wild card race, but they could be 2. They could be sitting where the Ravens are, who get to play tonight. Probably going to win. Probably going to end up 7-5. And be right where the Raiders are, but the Ravens could easily lose too, and that's the extent of the teams that are legitimately in the running. You have the Patriots at 6-6 that could.
And I was willing to give the Patriots some love right here. They just came out and absolutely destroyed Justin Herbert's Rookie of the Year conversation. Yeah. I'm willing to go that far because it's going to go to the Minnesota favorite, Justin Jefferson. It should rightfully go. I'll say that. We'll see how that goes. Rookie quarterbacks don't beat Belichick. They're playing great. I think that the Ravens, you should be scared. It's a must-win game tonight. If you lose this game, I'm sorry, you are out. Because even still, you need the guys ahead of you to mess up. Yeah, and that's just where you're at. Back to the Greg Williams Jets defensive call, though.
Yeah.
Why is it dumb?
Why is that dumb? He got fired for it. Why, you can't tell me that's dumb.
Why mess up getting Trevor Lawrence? Why mess up getting... I'm serious. I saw all of you. I saw everyone on Twitter as Jets fans saying, I'm done with this team. I'm done with this franchise. Okay, you want to win that one game? That's fine. Get the number 2 pick and take a shot on the quarterback that we don't know. You're getting Trevor Lawrence. I don't think you understand. I'm a Vikings fan. We have bounced around quarterback to quarterback for, it seems like, my entire life. We had Brett Favre for 3 years, and that was the golden age.
So the answer can be both. It is empirically dumb for the coach who is not thinking about the draft pick, who's thinking, I don't want to have another. No, he's not. He's not thinking about the draft pick when he has a winless record and he got fired for that call. He got fired for that call.
Greg Williams has a really good defensive track record as a coach.
Yeah, he's now been on 2 different teams back to back that have not won a game.
I get that, but going back into his earlier days, what got him his shot was
I get that.
He had promising stuff. He walked so the Jets and got fired so the Jets could run later on.
He did not do it on purpose.
He may not know. He probably, why would you? Because you're going to lose your job. You don't ever put your job over that.
Yeah.
But Jets fans, he is the reason that you are going to get this done.
You should send
closet rejoice this man, because why win that game? What does it matter to you? I've never understood that. I get the whole, we're better than the culture of tanking and all of this stuff. Bullshit. It's Trevor Lawrence. I'm tired. I would put my name next to this man and X amount of dollars that he is going to hit. That's how certain I am on this. Jets, yes, y'all might be the team that could ruin it just because of how historically bad.
I'm not going to deny that. Look, I remember being a Dolphins fan when Andrew Luck was set to come out, and it was pretty much the exact same hype. I would say, and we were in that running for that spot. We were right there. And I remember when I think it was against Tim Tebow and the Broncos, the Dolphins were up in the first half. We lost. We ended up losing that game on an awesome comeback, and I was fucking hype. It gave us a better shot to go get Andrew Luck. Obviously, the Colts.
Yeah. I just don't understand. I understand not liking that play call, but at the end of the day, as a Jets fan, because you said as a Dolphins fan, you would have wanted to lose that game.
Yeah.
As a Vikings fan,
now there's a slight difference that at that point in the season, the Dolphins already won a game, so I wasn't worried about going winless. You never want to go winless.
I get that.
That I think is the big question mark.
Maybe that's where it's at, but it just so happens that you have a 1-win Jags team that somehow mathematically has the tiebreaker, and they will jump you for the number 1 pick if you win a game.
Yeah. I totally get that. Right now. And you look at the Jags, and it's like they're decimated with injuries, and they have Mike Glennon throwing the football, so it's like they're not going to win many more games.
No, they're done.
Yeah, so let's switch gears just a little bit and finish up the AFC before we go to the NFC here. The Chiefs now have the number 1 spot, right?
Yeah.
The Steelers lose 1 game, and now the Chiefs get the lock. They're locked in. They're locked in a playoff spot. Oh, I take that back. So Steelers still have the bye. So I misread that. Chiefs are locked into the AFC West, so they will not miss the playoffs no matter what. We knew that though, but they're still the number 2. It's going to be a fight to see who wins that 1 bye week, because it used to be 2. This year it's only 1 bye week, so it's not like in recent years you look at this division, you'd say, okay, Steelers and Chiefs are getting the bye no matter what. They're going to kind of coast throughout the rest of the season. That's not going to be the case this year. Chiefs still are fighting for something. They're number 2 as far as the way the head-to-head matchups or whatever breaks up. The Steelers are still that number 1 seed and do get that bye. The rest of their schedule is versus the Dolphins, Saints, Falcons, and Chargers. 3 games they should absolutely win. 1 game against the Saints that'll be interesting.
If Drew Brees doesn't come back, and I don't think he's going to, they'll get that one taken care of.
And then I'm looking up the Steelers schedule right now. Just give me a second.
The bye week is monumental. Because it has been, I can't even, no, you can go back over, I think it's 18 years, and in the Super Bowl on either side, AFC, NFC, there is 1 or 2 seed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Being the 1 or 2, meaning those teams get the bye,
it's a win in your column.
It's your momentum. You got to win 2 games, and then you're there. 2 games you're representing.
And I absolutely agree. And look, and the Steelers, they play the Bills this week, Bengals, Colts, Browns. Yeah, those are 3 games they could lose.
We talked about that a few weeks ago when it was the Steelers and how they've kind of, gotten these weird close wins against weak teams. Get ready.
Yeah, because they have a tough one. Look, they could have lost to the Ravens if things would have gone a little bit different. Honestly, if RG3 doesn't pull his hammy in the second quarter, I think that game would have been a lot fucking closer. I'll put it that way.
And how ready are you for a Week 17 final matchup for
Steelers,
the division?
Browns. I'm predicting you think that's for the division? They're 2 games back.
I think the Browns are running the table. They're 2 games back technically. I think the Bills are going to beat the Steelers this weekend, and I think that Week 17 will determine it.
Yeah, Browns get to play Ravens, Giants, Jets, Steelers. So if they can beat the Ravens on Monday night this week, and you got to remember that's Ravens playing on a short week because they're playing Tuesday night now. They haven't even finished their Week 13 game. Browns have already had an extra day and a half, 2 days to prepare for those Ravens. Then they get the Giants. Jets should win both of those games.
I think there is a chance that the Browns can come back and get this division.
It's possible. It is possible. And if that happens, obviously Chiefs get that spot. Yeah. And I'll go so far as to say, you look at the teams the Steelers might have to play or the Chiefs, and look, we both agree that the Steelers are they're a little bit of frauds at 11-1. They're not that good, in my opinion. At least they're good, but they're like a 9-3 good. The Packers are 9-3 right now. They're 9-3. They're 8. That's kind of the range I look at.
I think
they're not a one-loss football team right now.
The top 5, and you could throw in the Colts for the AFC too. So we will say 6 teams. I'm sorry to your Dolphins, but
that's fine.
Make it to the playoffs. That's a moral victory for you going forward, and you're fine with that.
Look, we're 8-4 right now. Exactly. As a Dolphins fan, and I'll put this to rest, so I won't talk anymore about the Dolphins. As a Dolphins fan, if we win 1 more game, I'm so fucking happy.
And
we had a winning season in year 2 of a 3-year rebuild. I mean, next year I'm going to be really fucking pumped and think we have a good chance to be a competitive football team.
And it's only going up from there. But looking at the top, take the Chiefs out of the mix. I think the Chiefs have separated themselves above everyone else in the NFL. Steelers, Bills, Titans, Browns, Colts. I think any of those guys, when they play, are going to be really good football. Depends on who shows up that day to play. And any of them can make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And so my whole point was saying that is Steelers, look, they lose the chance to go winless or go undefeated, and that's awesome as a Dolphins fan again. Yeah. But also they need to hold on to this number 1 seed because look, they could go into wildcard weekend in the number 2 seed and have to play a Colts, have to play a Browns, have to play a Raiders, a Ravens, a Dolphins,
and lose.
And none of those games are guaranteed. Look, yeah, they probably beat the Dolphins, probably. But other than that, I'm not going to sit here and say it's guaranteed. It's going to be a game. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and they could easily lose any one of those games. And I cannot say that about the Chiefs. I just can't.
And they already got the Titans once, and that was on some iffy calls late, so you can't bank on those a second time around.
Exactly. I absolutely agree. Anywhere else you want to go with the AFC? Do you want to dive into the Patriots here, or do you think... I just can't imagine them going up.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it, but I want to give props to Bill Belichick because what he is able to do with this roster right now, and it goes to like.
Did you see what I said on Twitter? Because I think you're about to go this. It was that dude who was talking about how Bill Belichick deserves the coach of the year. And I commented and I was like, show me another coach, any fucking coach throughout history that could do more with this fucking roster. And I mean, honestly.
I would argue 2 to 3 win roster. And I am serious. The Jaguars have more offensive firepower than the New England Patriots offense does. And that's just hands down. Yeah. You have Gunnar Olszewski, who is getting punt return touchdowns and catching touchdowns. You know, I mean, it's just all over the place. These guys, at the end of the day, are nobody practice squad guys on other teams. And Bill Belichick is piecing this thing together and somehow commanding the 6-6 kind of ship. And here we are. Yeah. Give the man props.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that people are pushing back against this because it's Bill Belichick and all that, whatever bullshit that people want to bring up, that's fine. Whatever. You've hated him for 20 years because he's run a dynasty, and that is what it is. But you look at what he's done with this roster, from the opt-outs, having the most opt-outs of any team in the NFL. I think 9, most of them on the defense.
He lost 6 starters on defense.
Having his offensive line demolished with injuries, absolutely decimated with injuries from top to bottom. I mean, they're starting third stringers that struggled in college probably.
Give it to brand new quarterback. They're going to bring in Cam Newton in one of the hardest offenses to kind of grasp as a whole.
Cam Newton giving away games late. I mean,
exactly.
If Cam Newton doesn't fumble, he gave away 2 different games by fumbling the ball late. And I mean, they'd be fighting for a playoff spot.
So think about
everything's broken their way.
The Bills game was a fumble. I can't remember the other one off the top of my head that was a fumble. And then you have the Seahawks 4th down, very scripted Cam run that got stuffed.
That could have
been. Those are 3 wins where you could be that's a 9-3 football team right now.
Yeah. Exactly, and if they were 9-3, everyone would be saying, "Oh, Bill Belichick's the great,"
exactly.
Or even worse, people would just be saying,
"Bill is doing everything in his power to put his team in positions to win with guys that other coaches would literally say to the media, there's nothing I can do." Yeah. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say there's not one coach that is in the NFL right now that could do better with this roster. Not fucking one. I don't care how much time you give them. I don't care, if you haven't, even if you had enough time to really install the offense, which Bill Belichick didn't have, by the way, because he's got a lot of young fucking guys that are learning the most complex offense and defense in the NFL. Whatever, people still want to give him hell. I absolutely agree. I mean, at the end of the day, we go through their schedule. I pulled it up. They got the Rams, Dolphins, Bills, and Jets. They're not going to get to the playoffs. I just don't think. I think there's probably 2 losses here. I think Rams, Bills are most likely, but they could lose to the Dolphins. I mean, they beat the Dolphins earlier this season. The Dolphins are pretty good at taking the Patriots for at least one.
Well, and it's always a low scoring, especially with this Patriot style team too. Give it, the Tom Brady one was always close anyway. So throw in this. Yeah, y'all should be able to get that one.
We should. Yeah.
One more thing before we close out the AFC, because we can kind of wrap it up. We're at 23 minutes, maybe 25-ish. If the Chiefs get the home field, can anyone hold a candle to them? Can anyone do it?
I think yes.
That's going through Arrowhead. Who could go through Arrowhead? Because I say hell no. No one's going through Arrowhead.
This is going to be bold, and you're not going to agree with this.
That's fine.
I know you're not.
I'm asking you.
I'm saying the type of teams that can go through Arrowhead and actually win.
You're going to say Titans and Browns.
Are Titans and Browns. That type of football team that can run the ball, that can play sound defense, they can win against the Chiefs. And look, I'll say the style of play that the Dolphins play could beat the Chiefs. Now, the Dolphins don't have enough talent to beat the Chiefs. I'm not saying they will. I do think they're going to give them a little bit more fight than most people are probably expecting for this week.
Okay.
But that style of football team, that and Dolphins will kind of want to play a similar style as the Titans and Browns. So that's kind of where I'm putting that in the same boat. I think those teams could win. I think Colts might have an outside chance, maybe. I don't really think. I think at the end of the day, if the Colts are in that situation, Philip Rivers is probably going to throw the pick late and lose it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that's kind of where I would go with that.
If I had to pick the teams that could do it, I'm not going to rule out the Steelers either.
That's fair.
Just because there's always a chance, but the way that I look at it in my head is at Arrowhead with the elements intact and everything kind of kosher on the field for Pat Mahomes. Him at his best is near untouchable.
Agreed.
Near untouchable. So Steelers every other team in the AFC should be rooting for the Steelers to take that home field and hope that it doesn't go through Arrowhead somehow.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance that you may not have to go there. If you do, get ready. I think the Chiefs are almost a surefire lock for the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Look, I would agree with you for the most part. I think they'd be tough to beat. It would be an upset no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, guaranteed.
Props to Josh Allen for a great game last night, though.
Yeah, great game. Let's move on to the NFC. Look, Saints, since we last
firepower.
I was gonna say, since we talked last, we were kind of questioning, is it the Saints, is it the Bucks? That question has been answered. With the Saints at 10-2 and the Bucks sitting at 7-5. Yeah, it's the Saints. The Saints were for real. The Bucks were not. Saints have clinched the playoffs already. They are going to probably get that number 1 seed. They're 1 game ahead of the Packers. I will pull up their schedule to see if they have any losses that we can reasonably predict. But where are you at with this division?
So you said the Bucks are not, as in the Bucks are not legitimate. No, division, it's over.
Yeah,
division,
I was just talking division.
I was about to say, when you look at the Bucks record, this is one of the few teams that I can point at and say their record it doesn't reflect how good of a team they are. I really believe that.
Okay, how not?
The Saints have had their number twice. Okay, so yes, it sucked. Sean Payton's had your number. Bruce Arians, I think the way that you were using Tom Brady in some areas, you're not dependent on the run enough. And then it's too late because Tom Brady just shouldn't do what you're asking of him late. It's like, hey man, we're coming out of the half down 17. Yeah, they're getting the ball first too.
Yeah.
We have to totally abandon the run game. So here we go. You're gonna have to make some really tight precision throws. Brady has the ability to do this, yes, but without a run game intact, when you look at the Buccaneers' victories, Ronald Jones touches the ball over 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has a really good game. You get Leonard Fournette in there mixing him up.
Yeah.
You're really able to establish time of possession. In their losses, they have the most 3-and-outs in the NFL.
Yeah.
When it comes down to their losses, their blowouts, the ones where they get beat, they're just not able to hit that groove, and it shows.
Yeah, no, look,
I'm saying
I get what you're saying.
Miscredit to Bruce Arians. They're better than 7-5.
Okay, yeah, and that's totally fair. I look at the past couple weeks. Look, part of this is they've lost their last 2 games. They were on bye last week, but look, you look at they've lost 24-7 the past 2 weeks. They lost to the Rams 24-7,
a really good team,
and they lost to the Chiefs 24-7, a very good team, of course.
And Saints twice.
That's 4 of their losses.
And
who else did they lose to?
Ugly ass game. That was what, Monday Night Football or something.
Yeah,
it was a very ugly game.
You're absolutely right. Look, all their losses are to good teams. They're not falling behind to bad teams. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's not the credit of what a great team is. A great team is the team that beats the good team.
I get that.
You know, like what good team do they beat? Like, you know, you go down their schedule, who they beaten.
Trust me, I understand
Giants.
the counter to this argument.
They beat the Packers. That's a good one.
Barely beat the Giants.
Yeah.
That's the counter.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, let's go to the teams they beat. They beat the Packers. That's about it. I mean, as far as teams they beat the Panthers twice, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, you know, if you want to call them good. That's about it. Those are the teams they've beaten. They haven't beaten anybody good other than the Packers. I will say they're frauds in the sense that I don't think they're seriously competitive for a Super Bowl.
Going back a few weeks ago, and maybe 3 weeks ago, after they 38-10 the Packers.
Yeah.
That was when they were almost sitting atop the power rankings. They were second, 1, 2, 3 interchangeable with most websites on how good they were. No, they're not that.
Yeah.
I think this is a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs solely because of the man at the helm and Tom Brady. Oh, yeah. You don't ever want to see that. Trust me. The NFC big dogs, I think, are better than some of the AFC big dogs.
Yeah.
It's getting close though, because the gap really did close in my mind, because the Browns kind of showed up and showed that they're for real in my mind. Titans are legit. I like Josh Allen and the way that he's improving week by week. And
hey, Bills are 9-3. We fucking predicted it. I mean, we sat here and talked about how the Bills had a tough tough matchup early on, like midway through the season. I think they were 4-1, 5-1, something like that, and then they had a tough matchup versus the Chiefs and Patriots, I think, something like that, and they lost a couple, and then everyone was down on them, and now they're on a big win streak, and nobody's up on them. It's just crazy to me.
No one's back up on them, so it's kind of weird.
What it is, but you know,
we'll see how it goes though. I think the Saints. And we talked about Bill Belichick, Coach of the Year. Sean Payton should also get some honorable mentions, because this is the second year in a row where the Hall of Fame, for sure, Drew Brees has gone down, and he hasn't missed
Listen, I'm going to say, look, we always talk about how bad Bill Belichick wanted to play without Tom Brady, or wanted to coach without Tom Brady, which for good reason. I would say there's definitely some argument there. I think Sean Payton looks at his offense, looks at himself as a play caller, and says, I think he wants to play without Drew Brees. I think he wants to coach without Drew Brees.
He hears us going, Bill Belichick's the best, and Sean Payton's like, I'm undefeated without my MVP star.
And look, maybe this is bold, but because the Saints do have a better infrastructure than the Patriots do right now as far as just a team. Like their offensive line's great, defense line's great. You go down the list, like bottom to top, they're a good football team. But I mean, their scheme fits better without a Drew Brees. And Drew Brees, he's been awesome with Drew Brees for a lot of times, but Drew Brees can't push the ball down the field. Not seriously. Like he can't really get that deep ball, at least especially late in the season, the past couple of years. And Drew Brees can't run the ball. Those are two aspects of play calling that I think Sean Payton has been dearly missing. And now he has a dude in Hill who can do these things. And I mean, they haven't lost and they've won pretty easily versus everybody. I mean, it's been awesome.
It's weird though, because the flip side for arguing for Drew is that Drew Brees is able to surgically dice you, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But he's also able to utilize his weapons in a Kamara and Mike Thomas. And fantasy wise, if you've had either of those targets, it's been pretty bad with Taysom Hill lately. Taysom Hill gets it done. He gets the job done and doesn't really matter, doesn't go through those guys necessarily. Brees, you're limited with your deep ball, but you use your weapons better.
Yeah. Listen, I think
that's honestly why he uses both.
Yeah, this was not me shitting on Drew Brees by any means.
Exactly. I get what you were saying.
He has done a lot of great things for Drew Brees, absolutely. But there's an argument to be made that they haven't gotten over the hump. They've been a really good football team for the past 4 or 5 years now, like legitimate contender the past 4 or 5 years. They've lost in frankly heartbreaking ways a lot of times in the playoffs, but you're in that position to lose in heartbreaking ways because you're playing in a close game. If you blow the team out, you can't lose in a heartbreaking way. You know what I mean?
Can we bounce back? I want to go to the top and then let's go to the bottom real quick. Because I want to tell the Saints fans at night before you go to bed, kneel down and pray you don't face us in the first round or after your bye. Pray you don't. Pray you don't. 2-0. Minneapolis Miracle, Kyle Rudolph, no flag, whatever you want to call it. 2-0. Get ready. You don't want this 6-6 right now. Listen, I'm happy.
I love it.
As I said, I want to give myself props. As I said, the Cardinals took their spill south.
Yeah.
The Rams achieved what I hoped and I needed them to as a Vikings fan.
I'm going to give it to you instead. We talked about the NFC 3 weeks ago, right? Go back.
Very hard division.
Go back and listen to that pod. Everything that Jacob has said has panned out. Everything. He said, oh, Giants have a really good shot at winning this division.
Boom.
Giants are probably going to win this division. They're in the lead there.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. One. He called the Rams, and granted, at the time, it was Seahawks, Cardinals and then Rams in that division. He said, I look at this Rams team as the team that's going to win the NFC West. Bang. I mean, he has called it to an absolute T. I mean, really.
And the reason I needed it was so there was a path for my Vikings to be able to get here.
Well, yeah.
We have a very tough and telling matchup because I think the Buccaneers are also on a must-win week going forward with not record playoff wise, but them showing themselves that they are a true force. And us, we have been getting Vikings been getting by the skin on our teeth against some of these teams. I don't know why. We took the Jags to overtime. We had a sloppy game against the Panthers. We barely lost that one to the Cowboys at the last second. It hasn't been clicking yet. It really hasn't been clicking at all.
It hasn't been pretty.
It hasn't. But if we can dodge the Bucs, we have another ugly fight with the Bears that we should be able to 1-1. Mm-hmm. The Saints, depending on who's quarterback, like I said, we got your number, Saints. So we'll see. You said
1-1. They beat the Bears already.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah, we beat the Bears.
We go 1-1 with the Bears. My bad. Right. No. I still think we have a chance to be able to make some noise if we only play the Saints, and I'll leave it at that. I'm serious. I'm dead serious when I say that. That is a true Vikings fan.
Listen,
if we play the Saints, we win. If we don't play anyone else, we lose.
We always want to get into how to look and dissect all these things. Past 6 games, the Vikings are 5-1.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's where they're at. They got 4 games left. If they can run the table, they're in for sure. And if they can go 3-1 over the next 4 games,
and we need the Cardinals.
They're probably win. They're probably in. Yeah,
to stay kind of trending down. And the Cardinals have a lot of tough division games coming up.
They do.
Seahawks and Rams being above them, and we'll see where that goes.
And we talked about that. When we did the NFC pod, the NFC West. The Chiefs.
Hardest division in football.
Yeah, the Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. They're all going to beat each other up. And throw the 49ers in there. The 49ers aren't going to get to the playoffs. They're not. 49ers are 11th seed right now. They're 5-7. They're tied with the Lions and the Bears and the Washingtons.
They're going to determine this division though, because they're going to upset the Seahawks somehow, or the Rams, or the whoever.
The 49. You can't tell me of the Bears, Lions, 49ers, 49ers, Washington, which the scariest team is. And look, the 49ers got decimated with injury. This season was supposed to be a lot prettier than it ended up being, but injuries just destroyed them, and it's fine. It happens. That just is what it is. But you
love Kyle Shanahan.
I'm just. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying any of that?
Not. No, he's a very good coach. Decimated by injuries, you take what you have left and you make it happen, and they're making it happen.
All I'm saying is, I said all that to say 49ers are still going to be dangerous, and they're going to, like you said, be the decider of who wins the NFC West. While they're not going to make the playoffs, they're not going to really be competitive down the stretch. I do think they're going to win a couple more games, so it'll be interesting. I think you're good. I don't think you have to worry about the Cardinals.
I was about to say, who gets in at the end though, because what's going to happen? The 49ers technically have a mathematical chance to make this at the end.
Yeah, if they run the table,
Vikings have a bad schedule, man. I said that. It's with the way that we've been playing bad teams, we have two good teams.
Well, let's go through. They play the Bucks, Bears, Saints, and Lions. Oh, we already talked about that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The Bucks being a good team, the Bears mediocre, the Saints a good team, the Lions mediocre.
Listen, the Vikings could lose out. It would not shock me if they lost every single game. They could lose the Lions. They could easily lose the next three.
You can lose any game.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care who you are.
So I'm not saying the Vikings are guaranteed, but if they can be they're going to have a chance to be in there. I don't think it matters. I'll be honest. Just in the grand scheme, as a fan, I understand what we're talking about that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who plays the Packers in the first round of Wild Card Weekend. Packers are going to win that game. If it's the Vikings, Cardinals, if the Bucks fall a spot to 7, if the Bears somehow run the table and get into the 7th seed, doesn't matter. The Packers will win that game. Am I wrong for saying that?
As a fan, I have an argument.
Okay.
As a fan, I have an argument. If the 49ers creep in, I have an argument. I think there are several ways that you can schematically beat the Packers, and they're consistently better than their record.
49ers aren't getting in them.
No way. They're not. But
I'll pull up their schedule.
Overall, other than me being a fan in itself, the Packers, they have the road. I think because the Saints losing Drew Brees, and I don't really know where to put that in the number one.
Shit, I could be wrong. 49ers could easily run the table. They get Washington, Cowboys, Cardinals, and Seahawks. Look, I'm not saying they'll win those last 2 games, but they could.
I don't think they're going to do any noise in the playoffs necessarily. I'm just looking at bad matchups for the Packers. Vikings being divisional, we're 1-1 with them on the year. So we beat them once. And that was after them demolishing us at home. We went to Lambeau and won a game that they desperately needed.
So let's get to the NFC East.
That's what I was saying we got to talk about, because Giants, Washington still has a chance too.
Giants, Washington. Washington is tied with the Giants right now. Can you believe that at the beginning of the season, if I would have told you at the beginning of the season, the 2 teams tied for the top of the NFC East would be the Giants and Washington?
Yeah.
Would you? I would have bet $1 million.
Adding the fact
I would have bet my entire fucking life.
Adding the fact that the Giants don't have Saquon Barkley, the only way that I thought that they might be able to get something done.
Yeah.
Shit, ridiculous. Man, I don't know where we're at.
Yeah. And honestly, and then on top of that, you say, hey, they also lost their quarterback for a couple of weeks. Washington is starting the guy who started as their 3rd string cornerback. Yeah, he's the starter now. Just ridiculous. And then you have the Eagles at 3-8 and the Cowboys at 3-8. They have a chance. They're either going to get a top 5 draft pick or, make it to the playoffs.
See, and isn't that weird, because we do our close the book segment.
We can't talk about it.
We're ready, but we're not, because of the way that this division is wrapping up at a 5-7 being the winner as of now.
All right, so this is where we got to talk Eagles, and I want you, because we were watching this game together this past weekend, where the Eagles, obviously they lose to the Giants, or
they have a new quarterback, lose to the Packers.
And Jalen Hurts, you have been high on him throughout the offseason. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, we go big when we start talking about the NFL draft and stuff. And we disagreed on Jalen Hurts. And look, and I do want to say, because I mentioned this when we were watching it, we were eating Mexican watching this game. I always like the person. I root for the kid. Jalen Hurts is an awesome dude. The story is amazing. I have nothing but I have no ill will towards him, but as a prospect, I didn't think he was a great prospect.
Of course,
so that's don't attack me for my take, but I want you to take your victory up a little bit.
X's and O's wise, Jalen Hurts going to the Eagles with I know Pederson's on the block to get cut right now at the hot seat, but X's and O's wise, it does kind of match up well for what Jalen Hurts can do.
Yep.
He's gritty. He has a winning mentality. He's able to put his body on the line and do what he's got to do. The stat line, he had a touchdown, a pick, 100-something yards or something
nothing,
like that.
Nothing pretty.
Nothing to blow you out of
But had a beautiful highlight reel throw on the run.
Had some good moments.
For a touchdown.
And going forward, I guess that's all he needed to see with Carson Wentz.
Carson's been struggling. He's been struggling big time.
Man, can I go to fight for him though?
Yeah, look, I think I do not think he deserved to lose his starting job. I don't think it's his fault. I did a video on Carson Wentz.
None of this is his fault. It all comes down to, like I just gave the props to Jalen Hurts for the X's and O's. The X's and O's have fucked Carson Wentz. You need to get. I don't know why they got away from what happened in 2017.
Yeah,
I think after that season they said, "Wow, Carson did really good in this heavily gifted gimme quarterback offense.
Yeah,
let's give him the world now." He can make the choice. He can he can do the tight windows on the 3rd and 6s. I just don't think that's him. It goes back to what you said about Baker. How I think about Jared Goff. There are certain quarterbacks in the NFL.
Most quarterbacks need help from the scheme.
Exactly. And when they are helped by the scheme, they can truly be a top 10, top 5 quarterback. Yeah. And there's very few Pat Mahomes out there that you can just throw.
Even fucking Pat Mahomes gets helped by the scheme.
Yes.
I mean,
let's give him all the props.
He has one of the most explosive quarterbacks, or excuse me, one of the most explosive wide receivers in the league in Tyreek Hill. He has one of the best tight ends. He has awesome weapons all around him. I mean,
and Andy Reid, the offensive mastermind, has been in the league for years.
So the best quarterback in the NFL by everybody's standards, pretty much, gets a ton of help. So like it's not all on the quarterback.
I think the help failed Carson Wentz because we have seen what level he can play at. And some of the highlights that you can go and look, just 2017 Carson Wentz, you see him make plays that he should be able to do now. And just something failed him along the way, man. Yeah. And it sucks to say, Jalen Hurts, I hope you do good going forward. But Carson Wentz, it sucks that you were the guy getting drugged down right now. Mm-hmm. Because it's not your fault.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But with that being said, I think the Eagles are we're not going to make it to the playoffs, and we probably don't even really want to mode right now. And they're probably looking at this as, let's see what we have in Hurts, who is, he's gotten limited action, limited plays to play the cute offense that it seems like a lot of teams are doing right now, the Taysom Hill style, put him in for a play type of shit.
He only got one snap before this week to where him and Carson weren't on the field at the same time.
Exactly. So it's interesting, and they obviously give him the starting job. Down the stretch, you have to play the Saints, Cardinals, Cowboys, Washington. We'll see what happens with Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to sit here and say I was wrong on my prediction from the prospect. I just didn't think.
We'll find out.
I didn't think he was an NFL quarterback. I certainly didn't think he would be able to be an NFL quarterback first year. So we're going to see. Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm rooting for the kid. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong about this. Every time I say something negative about our prospect, I want to be wrong. They put their heart and soul into this. I have nothing but hope for him. That just is what it is.
So count the Eagles out.
Yeah, count the Eagles out. Cowboys, we're probably counting out too, right?
I don't even want to go look at them.
I'm looking at them.
They're so disappointing as a group.
Listen, I want to go back to this, and I know I've mentioned it before.
You're good. You can take your victory lap.
Fucking give me a victory lap on the Mike McCarthy versus Joe Judge argument that we had in the offseason, man.
Take it, man.
We got Mike McCarthy here, who had all the talent in the world. I know they lost Dak. I know they lost weapons all over the team. So, we could give Mike McCarthy
that offensive line is a shell of itself.
We could give Mike McCarthy the exact same excuses that we give Kyle Shanahan right now, right? We could do that. And if somebody wants to defend that, that's fine. I'm not going to, because I remember what it looked like the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. When did he get hurt? He got hurt against the Giants, I think. If I could be wrong on that. Week 5.
Yeah, I mean, they were getting blown out, and it took Dak doing miracles to get back.
They got crushed. They got destroyed by the Falcons, and they ended up coming back on a miracle. Got destroyed by the Seahawks. Got destroyed by the Browns. We'll see. Obviously, I think McCarthy's probably going to stay. And he probably deserves to. It was a COVID year. Things could change, and I could be eating my words this time next year. We'll see. But, man, with all the weapons they had, defensively, offensively, there is no reason this team should be this bad. And honestly, without Dak, they still shouldn't be this fucking bad, man. They still have weapons on the wide receiver.
Listen, you're right. We said at the beginning of the year that this was something that they could not afford to lose in a year like this division.
Yeah.
You're kidding me that these 3 teams...
They can't win 3 fucking games?
You're telling me that the story... So if you tell me blank storylines, Carson Wentz gets benched, The Washingtons are on their third quarterback, and the Giants lose Saquon. Oh, Cowboys sure as hell won that division, right?
And I said, oh, hey, Dak Prescott got hurt, but they still have the red rifle.
That changes me to 8-8 in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, their offensive line got busted up. Oh, I mean, that's still, maybe 7-9, but shit, way you're describing
it's looking really bad right now for the Cowboys going forward. And there's two sides to Mike McCarthy. There's the one that got the Super Bowl, and then the other one is the same argument. He only got one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, I think he failed to help Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I look, this was my whole argument at the time. I'm going to stick with it. Nothing has changed in my mind. He failed to help Aaron Rodgers at the time. He failed to innovate in any unique way. And now he's in the Cowboys, an awesome career to go from the Packers, a storied franchise, to the Cowboys, a storied franchise. Yeah. Awesome fucking career. And I feel like he's let both franchises down. Flip the script to a Joe Judge, who comes in, really just gets the job because, I know Bill Belichick and I know Nick Saban, and he was a special teams coordinator. Man, there's two special teams coordinators that turned into head coaches that are looking pretty fucking good. I mean, you got Harbaugh
and Joe Judge.
George Judge, that's it. And look, we'll see with Joe Judge, but it seems like the team has bought in. It seems like the team is performing better than they should be. The roster I'll say it right now. They have the worst roster bottom to top.
Defensively, name me a player. I will ask the average fan to name me a player.
Yeah, exactly.
You're stuck, man. I'm telling you, the way that he is able to implement his specific special teams plays into stuff too, to kind of keep teams on edge. I mean, even that's stuff you see at the college level, but the NFL guys are buying into that. These are guys that are paid multi-million dollars who sometimes can just be like, shit, man, whatever, man, it's my job. Yeah. They're buying into this. They're having fun with it. They're a 5-win team that, it's picking up momentum. They're probably going to lose in the first round no matter what happens. Yeah. But it is a huge moral victory for them to pick up this.
Amazing.
For a first-year coach.
Look, I remember saying at the time, look, I'm not saying I understand the pick because I didn't know who the fuck Joe Judge was before he got picked, but I at least understood the thought process. And like, you look at what the Patriots did, you look at what Nick Saban has done for Alabama. Hey, I want a guy who might have a chance to bring that type of legacy to the Giants, and it made sense. And if that's what he's doing, I'm not saying that's what he's going to do. I'm saying he looks like a really fucking good coach who defensively has been playing he's got his team playing awesome. I mean, he allowed 12 points from the Seahawks. Bengals got 17, whatever. Eagles get 17. Washington gets 20. Bucks get 25. Eagles get 22. They're holding teams down, not scoring a lot of points. I mean, I'm very, very impressed.
They've had a very bad schedule. I'll say it. 2-point loss to the Bucks. They played the Steelers early on, which no one really wanted to do that anyways. Yeah. Bears, ugly game, great defense. You don't have the offense. It's a bad schedule going forward in the way they wrap it out. But honestly, I can't use it against them because no matter who they play, either the team they're playing plays down to them or they play up to them, and it levels out perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to see.
They need 2 wins and they're getting this division.
Do you think let's go? Do you think that we're going to see more special team coordinators get a shot, or did he just get this because the same reason Zach Taylor got his job?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really connect it to the special teams route. I think it connects to the tree itself. It's the same reason Matt Nagy got his job with the Andy Reid tree. Yeah, the Belichick tree.
It's not a good tree though. If you look at Andy
Reid's.
Andy Reid's is actually, I would say, is better than Bill Belichick's. You look Belichick is that you have Flores who's looking awesome in Miami.
I look at Vrabel.
Joe Judge and Vrabel. Beyond that, that's still Billy O'Brien is part of that tree. You got Patricia who's part of that tree. Okay. I'm losing some other names, but everybody else who's part of that tree's already been fired. So I mean that's it.
I get that.
So I'm not saying Bill Belichick had a lot easier to have Tom Brady as your head coach or as your quarterback for 20 years. So I mean that helped him out a lot too. But it's not a great tree.
There's a reason you're okay with your assistants leaving you though. I'll bring it to college with Nick Saban. He's 22-0 against his former assistants.
Yeah.
He's okay. He says, you can go get that SEC job all you want because I know I'm going to beat you. Yeah, exactly. That's just how it goes. You're okay with that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. All right, so let's move on. Anything else to say about this? Okay, so NFC. Can the Cardinals run the table? Can they get in 6-6?
Yeah, I mean, they're electric enough. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a crap on Cliff Kingsbury as of recent. I think his route run tree, I sent you a diagram on it from PFF. He kept D-Hops at 15 and under on 12 routes on the left side of the field in the last game this past week. That is a limited route running. If I
explain that a little bit more for the people at home.
D-Hop's farthest route hit 15 yards. He did not hit past that on a his exact
slant
route. So,
route, anything
yeah,
like that.
so I mean, it may, Kyler's D-Hop's lines up on the left. He lined up on the left the entire game, ran 12 times. 15 yards was the max that it hit. He
only ran 12 routes?
I'm saying of the ones that were pass plays.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm not counting the read option. You can go look at your read option, RPO, whatever. I don't count that because I count that as a run first with Kyler. I'm looking at I sent it to you on TikTok and Twitter with the PFF, the way they broke it down. I'm saying you're limiting yourself because they showed Devontae Adams and the way that he ran his route tree all over the field, ran all sorts of they call it 1 through 9 routes because you have your stop, your out, your dig,
you can look it up and you'll see it's a diagram. It's a very popular one. Yeah.
And all the other guys, top 5 wide receivers, ran every single one. D-Hop's was very limited in this last game, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that's strange. Look, I think this hire of the whole time when they hired him ahead of the Kyler Murray draft pick and they drafted Kyler Murray, everyone was kind of like, man, this dude had a losing record in college, and they had Patrick Mahomes in college, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't the same guy that he was in college as he is now, but still, he had talent. He had untapped talent. I'll put it that way.
I want to save myself because I know there's going to be people mad at me because the Cardinals are electric and exciting. It's the second year of their 3-year rebuild, so for what they're doing, they're still pulling dubs, I guess you could say, with the way that they're doing. But pump the brakes. Yeah. Cardinals, it's not happening right now.
So what I was going to say is with Cliff Kingsbury is last year when you look at what he did last year, he really tried to implement a spread offense. He really wanted to bring that to the NFL, and it wasn't working the first half of the season. And he actually did pivot and kind of change his offense around. And actually, I would say it's the only reason Kyler Murray ended up winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year that year, because he was actually able to utilize Kyler Murray in a different way and kind of changed up his offense. So that was like my big thing coming into this year. And like, maybe I was wrong about the Cliff Kingsbury hire. Maybe if the biggest thing to me is in seeing a head coach is, can you adjust? Can I see a head coach adjust to the talent that you have? Can I see a head coach adjust to the personalities that you have? And I think the best example is a Mike Tomlin, is an awesome example. The example of a coach who can't adjust is a Billy O'Brien, not being able to adjust the talent you have on the field. You're just stuck in your
ways no matter what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. That is a flawed way of thinking. It's a flawed way of trying to be a head coach in the NFL. It just doesn't work.
You let your pride get in the way.
Exactly. So
props to Cliff for letting that down.
So he changed it. We're going to see, it's always easier to see when you can take a step back and look at the entire season as a whole. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If he's not able to adjust and again, let his offense, evolve into what it's eventually going to be, or what it eventually can be, he won't be there very long. But I agree. Like the same thing I keep saying with the Dolphins, they're having an awesome season, but let's not judge ourselves on this season this year.
2 out of 3.
3-year rebuild, year 2. The Cardinals are in the exact same fucking boat, and they're looking good for year 2 of a 3-year rebuild. I mean, it looks great. And that's the thing I think we always need to remember. Yeah. It's something that's easily forgotten, I feel like, and it needs to be brought up enough. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. Anywhere else you want to go with this?
I was about to say we hit on every division. You didn't mention Washington at all, so I guess we're just going no way.
I mean, look, they can do it. They're 5-7 too.
Yeah, we don't have to go in depth. Alex Smith, you're getting the comeback player of the year. You officially earned that with your Kurt Schilling blood gushing out of your sock play this past weekend.
I'm not gonna lie, I watched that, and I was actually working, so like I worked from home. The game was on in the other room, and I was just like walking to get some water or whatever. Looked at the TV, blood gushing, and I was just like, I wish he'd stop playing football. Like every time he gets tackled,
but it was unrelated though.
It was totally totally unfair thing for me to say, totally unfair thing for me to think. But that was my initial like visceral thought, was just like, I like Alex Smith as a person. I would like to see him have a long and healthy career in the next phase of his life. Yeah. And God, if it just isn't scary every time he gets fucking tackled, every time he takes a sack,
after an injury like that happens, I get that. The blood gushing is what I thought of too. It was like, oh, is he broken again? Or, because you just don't want to see that happen. Yeah. You don't want to see such a good story end up being like, and the man suited up in full armor and went out and got hurt again. Yeah. You just don't want that.
Yeah, so, I absolutely agree.
I'm going to rule them out just because they're losing Antonio Gibson in that important run game.
That's a tough loss.
It was brutal. It was very promising going forward. It's ugly. I mean, we'll see. I think no matter who gets this, that's why I'm not talking about it much, is no matter who gets this division, you're only hurting yourself further. Yeah, moral victory for the Giants. I think you really need that draft pick, though, Giants. You could really do a good top 10 offensive lineman.
I think with the Giants, it's a little bit. Well, I would say with the Giants or Washington, it would be a little bit different in the sense that first year head coach, young team for the most part. You get those wins and you realize you learn how to win football. I think that was a big thing for the Dolphins down the stretch last year. You know, we lost our chance to get Burrow or get that number 1 pick, but a young football team learned how to win, and a lot of those young players are still complementary pieces now. It builds a culture. I think that's probably more important than the pick.
It's the flip side to the fans for the Jets who are upset as to why Greg because you have 52 other men on this team that at the time being like, damn, man.
Yeah, and look, I think the other thing with the Jets is somebody's going to have to go into New York, take over that Jets job, and they're going to have to retool the culture.
Clean house.
Yeah, they're going to have to clean house. It's not, the culture is going to have to be changed from the top down, because that culture is never going to change with Adam Gase there. I mean, that's painfully clear at this point. But real quick on Washington, they get the 49ers, Seahawks, Panthers, and Eagles to finish out. They could do it, I guess. Look, they're tied with the Giants right now. They're 5-7 too, so I'm not saying it's impossible. I don't expect it to happen.
You beat the 11-0 Steelers, bro. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, exactly. They're coming off a big win, so for us to count them out is not fair. And look, what have we said throughout this entire offseason? They have an elite part of their football team. They have an elite defensive line. And at the end of the day, when you have an NFL football team, you really want to start with one elite piece and build out from there. They already have that elite piece. So that's a big part of their team. They could do it. They could absolutely, surprise us and get into the playoffs. Like you said, it's a moral victory more than it is anything else. Like, if they get the 4 seed, because that's the crazy part, they host a playoff game. Yeah. If they get the 4 seed, they play the Seahawks in the playoffs. Look, Seahawks just lost to the Giants this past week, so maybe the Giants could surprise you. I don't think in a playoff situation, Russell Wilson's going to lose that game. I just don't think so.
I would hope not, but I mean, historically speaking, you do not want to fight an 8-8 Jets team, or that Giants team. That is they'll come in there and be ruled out. Eli Manning and just be like, nah, I don't even want to win, but I'm gonna win.
Oh hell yeah!
So look at the NFC as a whole, then, and who can legitimately get it done. Who's gonna do it? Who would you not be surprised?
I want to see Aaron Rodgers get another one. Okay. I think Aaron Rodgers and that Packers team. Look, they did something I don't think we expected to, mainly because we hated their draft. I think we let that blind us.
The second year LaFleur.
Yeah, we let that blind us to the fact that, hey, they won a lot of games last year. They know how to win football teams, and they have Aaron Rodgers on the field. So it helps them out in places where maybe their talent, at that wide receiver 2 position, talent at other parts of the field, may not matter as much. So, you love it. I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers get another one. I'd love to. It'd be an awesome story, maybe personally, because I did like Jordan Love coming into the draft, but for Aaron Rodgers, it would be an awesome story. Oh, you drafted my replacement? I'm gonna go win a fucking Super Bowl.
Possibly an MVP alongside of that. Which we can finish it out with that. Yeah, I have the Saints, the Packers, and the Rams. I'm sorry,
I think Rams are fake. I do. I think
the Rams in playoff time are still a team that you just don't want to face with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald.
To me, it's because you're absolutely right, the defense, but I really believe Jared Goff is too average to win. Maybe that's unfair.
I get that. I think, but with McVay,
I think crunch time, Jared Goff, when the moment would just be too big, and maybe I'm just low on Jared Goff. Maybe I just don't like Jared Goff. I like him as a person, again, but as a player, he's proven to me.
That's where you would normally say, yeah, Russell ain't losing a playoff game. But, man,
they look bad.
What's going on? They're looking horrible right now. Offensively, even with all of these cool weapons and whatnot that you have on offense. Because normally it's the defense, the pass defense is really bad. They don't have anyone interior defensive line.
I think
it's the offense.
I think what happened with the Seahawks is early on in the season, we all really got super excited. I actually did a video about this when the Cardinals beat the Seahawks on that either Sunday or Monday night game. Mm-hmm. I did a video about the way they play defense against the Seahawks. And I'm not saying that's the only reason. I think there's a lot of other factors to the teams kind of figuring out the Seahawks. But that was the big turn of when the Seahawks started to struggle. And I really believe the rest of the NFL, they figured out how to stop. They figured out the offensive scheme as far as the passing offense and the route combinations that they like the most. And they figured out how to get to Russell Wilson. That was the big part of my video that I did, was how to get to Russell Wilson. And I think that combination has made it very, very difficult for that offense to get off the ground.
Yeah, no, that's why I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah,
that's why I couldn't. you can do all the hero ball you want. Russ, you're going to have to do it if you really want this team to compete later on.
They
wouldn't surprise me if they do it. Yeah, I think it's the Packers to get right now.
Listen, I love a lot of things about that front office, that Seahawks front office. I think they need a more creative offensive mastermind type of guy in there, because they're just not creative enough offensively. They're just not. And I think that's their huge downfall as a football team.
You're not hinting at losing Pete, though, right? I mean, Pete Carroll, for what he does on the defensive side of the ball.
Look, Pete Carroll's an awesome coach. He's a Hall of Fame type of personality, type of person. I think at the very least, bring in a young up and comer type of offensive dude to come in and be the OC. Like what the Titans did with Matt LaFleur that 1 year before he went to his head coaching job. I would like to see them do something like that. Their offensive coordinator right now, off the top of my head, I don't remember his name. He's not creative, and he's been there for a long time. Let me figure it out.
I mean, you kind of let Russ do his own thing anyways.
Yeah, right. Offensive coordinator. Brian Schottenheimer has been there since 2018. He's done some good things there, but he's the
son of Marty, isn't he? Marty Schottenheimer.
Yes, he is. So he's it just is what it is. I'd like to see a new face there. Look, Brian Schottenheimer was getting a lot of love early on in the season, but I think everyone's kind of figured it out, and now's the time to adjust or go home. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not saying they won't adjust and they won't persevere, but right now they're fifth seed, and they're not a team that anybody's very excited about. So we'll see what happens. You want to close it out? We just hit an hour. We do not have enough time to do our picks, guys. The same thing I did last week. I'm gonna put our picks in the comments, so you'll be able to see that. Check out our locks. We actually did pretty good on our locks last week, so maybe we're going the right direction. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. I know I had a little burp there on the like. Okay, and then if you're listening on podcasts, hit the subscribe button and the auto download button. That really helps us out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace out.
7.